Lenin said, I'm an artist. You give me a fucking tuber, I'll get you something out of it.
Well, I tell you, Mr. Costello, I'd like to squeeze some fucking money out of it.
Hi guys, how you doing? Hope you're well. For those of you that don't know me from Adam, I'm Adam. Hi. Hope you're doing well. For those of you that do know me, hello again. Hi. I'm an actor, writer, filmmaker, musician, and I just wanted to talk about a few things that have come up recently about burning out as an artist and the pitfalls of modernity, the digital age, digital content creation, which more and more artists are being forced into positions where they have to make their own work, and online social media seems to be the biggest open market for artists to branch out and apparently make a bit of money.
What? What is this? What are we doing? What in God's name are we doing? What? Our lives! What kind of lives are these?
A lot of actors just aren't working. So you have to get creative and try and market yourself, make your own work, which again is enjoyable a lot of the time. But the dilemma for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, is when does it drift from being creative and authentic and enriching and then into something which is quite draining, damaging, a bit toxic, and just soul destroying, really. So the reason for this video is to just share some things that have really helped me along the way. I'm going to draw from a few different sources, people that say things much more articulately than me. But these kind of little, just these little lighthouses, I should say. I've got a cat, by the way. She might make an appearance. But yeah, these lighthouses, these beacons of things to just refocus your attention to, and hopefully they work, and hopefully they connect with you as they do with me.
I'm not built to be famous. I don't like it, you can keep it. I really have not gotten any benefit from it other than, I've gotten out of some speeding tickets and some restaurant reservations, and I don't wait in line at Disneyland, which may in fact be worth it if you've ever waited 5 hours to take a 3-minute ride. And I have no judgment around this. A lot of performers kind of inherently, because nobody wants to play to an empty house, right? They want to have that attention. Part of it's a tree falling in the woods. If you are an artist, you want to have the audience experience your art, trying to generate empathy and move people. Well, if no one's there, so attention, people often conflate it with narcissism and solipsism and self-absorption. It's not really. What it is I'm somebody who wants to express something to people very profoundly, so all people there to respond to that.
So that's something which is quite easy to forget. Like, this need for an audience can sometimes feel like a bit egotistical. And I think when you do a bit of digging and you try and reach for the meaning of what you're doing, it's really a need to connect. It's a need to communicate something. It's a need to express something. And there's another clip from Mark Manson here, which I'm going to play. He's the author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Take it away, Mark.
This is the thing that gets missed. I think there's way too much emphasis put on what is the goal and did you achieve it or not. Those two things, like, it's actually less important than what the process teaches you. So like setting the marathon goal, it taught me a lot about what matters to me, what is actually important at this point in my life. And by letting it go, I was able to replace it with actually a better goal for me, a goal that makes more sense for my current lifestyle, makes more sense for my current fitness goals, and is basically just going to make me a happier and healthier person overall. So ultimately, it's like the goals should be used as tools to advance you towards behaviors that are closer to your values. And what people lose track of is that if you set the wrong goal or the goal isn't completely accurate, then it can lead you down a path of behavior that actually takes you away from what you value in your life.
So yeah, this idea of goals versus values. So the idea that if the goal isn't serving you, change it. keep it flexible. So, for example, that weekend I had of figuring out what I'd wanted to do and drawing up this huge schedule of when I'm going to create some content, when I'm going to be creative, when I'm going to have some output, and the goals that I wanted to reach along the way. I literally lasted about 3-4 days, and I just completely, I just sort of caved in. Goals are great, don't get me wrong. Goals can be really useful. I've got a PT recently, and that has been great. And learning that progress is not necessarily a straight line. There's going to be ebbs and flows of energy levels and things like that, but consistency is great. Also, what I would say is if your goals are breeding feelings of, like they were with me, feelings of rigidity, feeling inadequate, feeling tired, burnt out, discontent, frustrated, fixated, so just not present with anything else other than this one thing that you're constantly sort of driving towards, pressured, overwhelmed, preoccupied. That's where, whether it's my own perfectionistic mind or, whether it's just my own way of how I navigate through things, I don't know. I don't know if it is just me. But what I do try to do now is readjust my goals or activities towards more feelings of feeling spontaneous, feeling relaxed, feeling joyful, feeling content, present, feeling light, free, relaxed, energized, inspired, creative. When I create those conditions for myself, ironically, that's when I do my best work. That's when I am most productive. Because it doesn't really feel like work. It's play, and I'm trusting that everything flows from that point if we cultivate those conditions. So just not grinding away to meet unrelenting standards, which in my case, the standards are unrelenting. There's always some place that I fall short. So yeah, that really helped me. Another quote from Mark Manson, which stems from Buddhism, is killing the ego. So killing the ego, the Buddhist mindset, Mark Manson says, our crisis is no longer material. It's existential. It's spiritual. We have so much fucking stuff and so many opportunities that we don't even know what to give a fuck about anymore. He says, kill yourself Buddhism argues that the idea of who you are is an arbitrary mental construction, and that you should let go of the idea that you even exist at all. That the arbitrary metrics by which you define yourself actually trap you, and thus you're better off letting go of everything. In a sense, you could say that Buddhism encourages you not to give a fuck. It sounds wonky, but there are some psychological benefits to this approach to life. When we let go of the stories we tell about ourselves to ourselves, we free ourselves up to actually act and fail and grow. The narrower and rarer the identity you choose for yourself, the more everything will seem to threaten you. For that reason, define yourself in the simplest and most ordinary ways possible. Don't be special. Don't be unique. Redefine your metrics in mundane and broad ways. Choose to measure yourself not as a rising star or an undiscovered genius. Choose to measure yourself not as some horrible victim or dismal failure. Instead, measure yourself by more mundane identities. A student, a partner, a friend, a creator, or in my case, an idiot. Keep it simple. And so, to sort of summarize and the things that help is a balancing act, really. It's a balancing act. And I don't think there is a solution. I think there's only balance. Treating yourself like an idiot, treating yourself not in a horrible way, but in a way that, again, sheds that identity and letting go of the narrative. So some things that do help me, some things that I've sort of cottoned onto and I try to remember. One is flow over feedback. So if you're creating something, and you're constantly getting feedback all the time, it can interrupt the flow, it can interrupt the momentum. So if you, especially when you're starting out, I think letting go of that, looking for external validation or trying to adjust yourself every step of the way, I don't think that helps. It doesn't help for me. It's important, I think, to just get into that flow state and let everything flow from there. Play over productivity, remembering that it's play, remembering that it's only as adults when we start to impose all this stuff upon ourselves, all these standards, all these expectations, when underneath there's just something that wants to play, there's something that wants to come through very authentically and organically. And when we put the need of a product at the end of it, you know, that can be a real detriment. So that helps. But the big one for me, and something which I try and remember every day, is connection over perfection. I'm a perfectionist. I overthink a lot, but coming back to this place of connection to what I'm doing, connection to myself, connection to what I need, connection to what my body needs, whether it's rest, compassion, which 9 times out of 10, that is what my body needs, and responding to that rather than reacting in a way which involves some sort of narrative, like I'm a failure, or I'm not meeting this expectation, or I'm not trying hard enough. You know, connect to what's really going on and respond to that, because it changes day to day. You know, you're not going to be in the mood to to do everything all the time. Connecting to other people as well. I've noticed that the big highlights of my career, if you like, or just of my life in general, whether it's through creativity or whatever, is when I've connected with other people, when I collaborate with other people, when I can create environments where I'm working with people that I genuinely love. There's nowhere else in the world I'd rather be when I create those circumstances, and that becomes bigger than the final product, you know. So working with other people, whether it's with my music or writing a script or doing comedy, adapting a book, whatever it is, those connections, they sustain you as an artist, because when you're working solo, it can become just like working in a vacuum, just shouting into the void. You don't know if anyone's hearing it. And if they do hear it, it's kind of through a screen or whatever. It's not got that same sort of life force as working opposite somebody and really connecting with someone on that level, on that creative level. Keep it simple. This relates to the stuff that I've learned through the 12-step program in AA, keeping it simple. And there's a card that they give you when you don't have to be an alcoholic for this to work. This works generally. There's a card that they give you called Just for Today. And I'll just read some of the things that when you're first getting sober, these things really do help. So, just for today, I will live through this day only and not tackle my whole life problem at once. Just for today, I will be happy. Most folks are as happy as they make their minds up to be. So that for me is, it changes day to day what my version of happiness is. Sometimes I'm not happy. Sometimes I'm low energy, and that's fine. Just for today, I will adjust myself to what is and not try to adjust everything to my own desires. I will take my luck as it comes and fit myself to it. Just for today, I will have a program. I may not follow it exactly, but I will have it, and I will save myself from 2 pests, hurry and indecision. So having that structure is great, but you're not a robot. Things aren't always going to come, it's not always going to flow. So just being gentle and flexible. And then lastly, just for today, I will be unafraid, especially I will not be afraid to enjoy what is beautiful and believe that as I give to the world, so the world will give to me. Putting others first, that helps, getting outside of yourself, putting the ego aside. So those things really help me. And making this video has helped me a lot as well, because it's easy to get bogged down in the mire and, journaling and things like that, and just picking out these things that I always come back to. I always come back to these cornerstones, really, of being compassionate with myself, connecting with others, letting go of the outcome. If the outcome isn't serving you, change it. what is serving you right now. Keep it flexible. Don't be too hard on yourself. And as Darren Brown says, the universe does not give a fuck about you, and that's okay. And on that note, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, share it with a friend, or don't. It doesn't really matter, does it? And that's that. Thank you very much. Leave a comment if you want. If you excuse me, I'm going to go for a very, very, very long walk. Bye-bye.